Welcome to Variant One Shot. It's been a while since I've talked about One Punch Man, and considering that I and so many of you love the character, today I wanted to remedy that. And what better way to do that than talking about his strongest moments, especially since he has no shortage of them. Now before I dive in, just know that nearly every opponent I'm going to mention that Saitama has defeated is so strong that it would take the combined might of the Justice League or the Avengers to take them down. I say this because a lot of you may have not watched the One Punch Man anime or read the manga, so this kind of gives you a gauge of how strong his opponents are. With that said, our first moment is when a giant was destroying the city by literally stepping on and punching down buildings. Saitama stepped in and took multiple blows from him like it was nothing before beating him with one punch, after which he says having overwhelming strength is pretty boring. You heard that right, he's so strong that it's boring to him, which is hilarious. Saitama also beat the Beast King, who's the leader of the strike force for the House of Evolution. Saitama literally made him explode with what he calls his normal consecutive punches, which is basically just a normal punch that is not even remotely full power. Then when he fought Carnage Kabuto, the strongest mutant or monster to come from the House of Evolution, all he could think about during the fight is how he missed Bargain Day at the supermarket. This made him so angry that he punched Carnage Kabuto, and yet again, someone literally exploded into 1,000 mutant pieces. When facing off against Speedo Sonic, whose speed is probably on par with Quicksilver but not as fast as the Flash, Saitama dodged all his attacks and defeated him by accidentally tapping him in the manberries with his fist. I will say, however, a tap to the dangly bits is any man's weakness. You don't have to be One Punch Man for that. But aside from that, he still dodged all of his attacks with no problem. Good old One Punch Man also abolished all the past test scores for the Hero Association's physical exam by literally running in circles around everyone, lifting what I could only assume is over 1,000 pounds over his head with one arm, jumping so high he got his head stuck in the ceiling of an arena-style stadium, and breaking the punching machine that gauges the strength of a punch. When sparring Genos, he moved so fast that Genos was actually fighting his afterimage and not Saitama himself. But wait, it gets better. This is probably my personal favorite moment that demonstrates One Punch Man's strength. When Genos is all like, don't hold back, go all out and take the sparring match seriously, Saitama agrees and throws a punch at Genos' face, only to stop inches in front of his face saying, "I'm starving, time for lunch." Genos then looks behind him and reveals that just the force wind from Saitama's punch destroyed an entire mountain range. That is so overpowered, it's not even funny. We also have the time when a dragon level meteor was going to destroy his city. Dragon level is anything that's a threat to multiple cities. So what does Saitama do? He jumps off a roof and punches the meteor, breaking it into 1,000 pieces. While there was still tons of damage from the meteor shards, he still saved the city from complete destruction. Then, when fighting the Sea King in the middle of a storm, he punched him so hard that not only did he defeat the Sea King with a single punch, he also punched away the freaking storm. That's right, he punched away the rain. It's so ridiculous, yet so awesome. And yet another ridiculous show of strength, when thrown to the moon by the godlike being Boros, Saitama simply jumps back to Earth from the moon. He didn't teleport, he didn't fly, he didn't hop on a moon rocket, he literally just jumped back to Earth from the moon. So as you can see, there is no shortage of strong moments for One Punch Man. In fact, there are a lot more than what I've mentioned today. These are just several of the ones I think are the most impressive. But I'm gonna end with one more, which happened during the last episode of Season 1. In the last episode, he faces Boros, by far the strongest character in the One Punch Man anime thus far. Think of him as a Galactus-Thanos hybrid. In fact, Boros may even be more powerful than them. It's hard to gauge, but the point is, he's freaking powerful. Long story short, they have this epic long fight, probably the coolest in the series thus far, but of course, at the end, Saitama beats him with one serious punch. I mean, what did you think was gonna happen? His name is One Punch Man. Anyway, Boros' last words are basically him saying that Saitama was still holding back and the fight wasn't even a challenge for him, ending with Boros saying, "You were too strong, Saitama." But just like that, my comic conrads, we have Saitama's strongest moments. If there's one thing we learned from this episode, it's that One Punch Man could probably solo anyone. And before a bunch of you lose your crap, I'm saying that because he's a gag character and a trope for all superheroes and anime characters. I mean, the character is a guy who can beat anyone with a single punch. You can't take that seriously. It's meant to be ridiculous, but that's exactly what makes it so funny and awesome. Which again is why so many of us love the character.